adults to navigate life. So sometimes we might think we've got all the answers, and then Pedzi opens his mouth and you're like, yo, I don't know nothing. I don't know anything. Then at times you're like, I know I'm doing this right, and then Pedzi comes through to confirm it. So let's hear what today is going to be. Are we going to confirm that I did it ball, or we're going to be like, oh snap, but let me start again. Pedzi, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Becky. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Well, I was speaking for myself,
right,
with that statement that after talking to you, I just go back to my notes. I write a lot. And then I just like, okay, Pedzi said this today, and I'm just thinking, snap, I thought I knew. I don't. And then I just go back to the drawing board and I implement the things that we would have discussed and all. And then I see, I respond better to certain situations where I would have cheered the situation. I do talk to Chira in my head. I tell her, Chira, sit down.
Communicate.
I communicate with her, Chira, sit down. It's not the time, nor the place to be doing this. Pedzi said we need to consider 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's consider 1, 2, 3, 4. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Today we're talking about how to become a person of excellence. Now, first of all, that word for me is very important because growing up in the church, this is what was driven in us.
Right.
That if you are going to do something, you might as well do it well or not do it at all. It seemed to be like a harsh statement to say, but it taught us to pay attention to detail. It taught us to be articulate. It taught us to, I don't think I'm ready to do this, so let me not do it. Right? And that then later on, growing up in life, we would slack because we were not consistent with the excellence part of things. For some reason, maybe it's because we thought at Hakura now we can make our own decisions. Right. Mama, or church leader who's watching over me, for me to be accountable for my actions. But why sort of like, because there are voices of reason, in the back of your head somewhere, and then you just find yourself adjusting yourself. Now, with you and just taking your whole life into perspective, the word excellence, what does it stand for?
I think I'd love to start with a quote that I love so much.
Yeah.
It says that excellence inspires man and it honors God. Excellence inspires man and honors God. And man actually is M-A-N, not M-E-N. So everybody. So it is more than, it becomes more than an activity. It now becomes an aura. It becomes an atmosphere that you create based on what you have decided. Because excellence is not random, it's decision based. It's a decision to surpass in everything and in anything. In fact, it has its Latin origins from the word, in Latin back then it was called excellentia.
Excellentia.
Yeah. Or excellentia.
I see someone naming their child. Excellentia.
Excellentia.
Okay, Becky, stop.
And,
all right, Latin origins.
Excellentia. Essentially, it means superiority. It means distinction. Right. It's it then also has, because X means out of.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
X means out of or from. And celer, which is part of the word, because when you break down, you start breaking down words. And then celer means to rise or to project.
Oh, okay. So coming out of rising, almost like a
out of something
cut above the rest and projecting.
Yes.
Wow.
So excellence is not a way of doing things; it is a way of being. Yeah, it is a way.
So based on what you've said, it's either you're excellent or you're not.
Yes.
Can it be taught?
It can be learned. It can very much be learned. So many ways of learning it, of course, by associating people with certain characteristics within that. And in as much as it is difficult to be excellent in everything, let me put it like that, just for the context. you then have to identify people who are excellent in certain things. So in natural senses, we call it role models. So it could be someone you know, you listen to on radio and you're like, I like that. I want to be like that. Because they have a certain way they project it, which is beyond talent.
So, for example, there are coaches, and then there's Pedzi the coach.
Okay.
Right? That will be like singling out an excellent person. Because there are plenty of people who do what you're doing, but no one will do it the way Pedzi, the coach, would do it. Because you are most welcome, my brother. Because you have put in place, and I'm not the one to say it. I mean, I've seen the messages come through. I have plenty of people that I've interviewed and people who have called themselves coach this, coach that. And from interaction and from seeing firsthand, I have seen coaches and I've heard people do certain things. When you come through and talk about life, this is basically like an adult life orientation program, right? You have like singled out the areas that we need to focus on as adults. And I've heard people talk about those topics, but when you break it down, it's almost like you simplify it to a point where the like layman's English, the person who's like, I watch it matkudi anonzwisisa kuti ndiri kuti ita so tiri kuti usadai. So I think with the breakdown that you have given it, I'm just trying to picture out, because when you said cut above the rest, coming out of and projecting, you know, that excellence, or coming from a point of rising, plenty of people will be doing the things that you are doing. But someone's name will come out tops.
Right.
I'm looking for someone who does door-to-door vegetable deliveries.
Right.
There's always that one name that will kick in. And I think it's because that person would have put in the work on purpose, intentionally. So I'm going to be excellent at this until my name is at the tips of people's tongues. Yeah.
Yeah.
I spend time with Pedzi in church. You know, things like this end up happening. But yeah.
Yeah. And it's so unfortunate that a lot of people, let me use the word we so that I don't make it seem like I'm being condescending.
All right.
But we rest so much on talent and ability. And then with that aspect alone, we forego excellence. Because excellence has got nothing to do with talent. In fact, excellence has got nothing to do with talent. Because I'll give you an example. Someone who knows how to manage time is not considered a talented person. You don't say, that person is talented because they know how to manage time. But when you know how to manage time, it's a reflection of a fruit that is within you, of whether it's courteousness. You're being courteous. And that alone is something that the normal person may not or may oversee. And when you reflect that fruit, it also then embodies the essence of excellence, because you've understood that I cannot do this, or I cannot fail to do this, because it will reflect this onto the next person. So excellence in itself is harbored within something that is internal, and it just simply projects it and makes it visible. So like an athlete, let's say LeBron or Messi, some will say Ronaldo, whatever. They are great at playing football. In fact, a lot of people say this person is better than them when they see these reels or shots on Instagram. But what makes them different is that they have decided to project the intentionality of what they want to achieve. And it is consistently done. It is diligently done. And it has no flaws. It will come out like it has no flaws. But because you have constantly applied yourself to a certain thing. Constantly
applied yourself to a certain thing. And constantly will then cover whether people are watching or not.
Exactly. You're doing it from within. And you're not doing it to get what is outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there was a reel I was watching. Some guys were discussing the difference between being good and great,
Oh yes.
right?
Mm,
Would you also say, let's say, the difference between being talented and being excellent? When someone is good at something, it is at a little bit above average. It is not the usual. But when we not start talking about excellence, we're saying even if it is above average, you are surpassing what is imaginable and you are reflecting it. So you reflect the fruits that are within you.
Mm-hmm.
And because the word excellence finds its origins from Latin, and we always have to find a way to connect them in a biblical sense. So I love I think we all know Pastor Tom Duchel. He's got several teachings on excellence.
Let me tell you something that I heard
Yeah.
about the Duchels. I was talking to my sister. She serves in the children's ministry and all. And I forgot what we were talking about. Oh yeah, we were in my kitchen and then we saw a crack somewhere. And I was like, oh, I need to get that sorted. Then she's like, please do it either today, but latest tomorrow. Like don't let this thing go on for like a week. You're passing this kitchen, you're in and out every week going, oh, I need to fix that. I need to fix that. I'm like, I am going to sort it out. She's like, so find the person, like right now, who's going to. I'm thinking, hey, calm yourself. What's up with that? And she's like, listen, Pastor Tom Duchel and Bonnie Duchel say excellence, just like what you said, is an inside job. It's either you have it or you don't. And if you don't have it, it's something that you must desire to have. Because if you let things go on for a certain time, that's when cars break down. Did you not hear the car make the sound the first time? Why did you wait for the car to say, I'm done? And for you to then want to fix it. So they said, so she says they take certain days of the week where they walk around their house and they look for things that are not okay. Oh, there's a crack there. If they've got crack filler, they're getting their gardener to come through and mix it up and close the cracks. There should be 12 light bulbs that are on at a time. Why are they 8? No, okay, so we need to replace those. There should be 11 of those things. Okay, something is missing, and they are fixing things as they go. She says their eye for excellence is always on the lookout, always open, like that's not supposed to sit like that, almost like an OCD kind of thing, but just showcasing how important paying attention to detail is and how excellence is such an important and vital part of our lives. Like it must show. It must show. Yeah, so you were saying?
Yes, I was saying I enjoyed some of the teachings he gave, especially on excellence. And from what I gathered, excellence is essentially rooted on 5 pillars.
Okay.
But it stems from 9 fruits. And now this is me kind of paraphrasing or adding a bit of flesh from my own research.
Yeah.
So obviously the 9 pillars that excellence is or sits on is your stewardship, which is your ability to manage resource, talents, and opportunities within your reach. It is also in terms of integrity, and with integrity it means maintaining some form of a high morality or a high standard. So integrity is not us, also just to put a disclaimer, integrity is not you unlying or being a crook. It's maintaining a high standard. It's that of maintenance. So you can, if you want to check what integrity is as an illustration, you focus on a person who's surfing in the ocean. Their goal is to remain afloat, regardless of the turbulence, regardless of the size of the wave. Their goal is to remain floating. That's like integrity. So regardless of what happens around you, regardless of what winds blow your way,
you still have to do what needs to be done.
Yes.
In high standards.
Yes. So even when someone says, if I say to you, Becky, I'm going to collect your parcel at 1 p.m. I have not lied. Even if I fail, I have not lied.
Okay.
But integrity, it's a pillar that I extend to someone, or someone extends to me with, in the form of trust, to say if he says that he's going to do this, he will do it.
Mm-hmm.
And the third pillar that it sits on is service, and it simply means that you are dedicated to lifting others up, but at the same time exuding humility, because you know that you have got more capacity, you have got more potential, but you are not being cocky about it.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth thing is diligence, not motivation, but diligence. And this is hard work. This is a combination of hard work, of discipline, and perseverance. So you're not going to wait until you feel like doing it. It is to be done regardless. And the fifth thing is it reflects God's glory. And this is striving to honor God and to reflect his character. When you know God doesn't do anything substandard, he doesn't say he will do it and not do it.
Oh, come on.
Whatever he will say is yep, and it's
a yep.
amen.
That's
and
it.
It's done.
That's
so
it.
It sits on those 5 pillars, and these pillars are external. These are things that we are able to rest what we call excellence. So with these, you then notice that, okay, look at someone who just dresses a certain way. You are being very diligent. When we say diligent, is your outfit, even if it's one shirt and one trouser, how clean is it? Is the lining clean? Is the kamtsetse, what you call impon? Is it sharp?
Is it proper?
You see? So excellence does not come because there's abundance. In fact, excellence's reward is then abundance. But you don't wait for abundance to become excellent.
Excellence reward is abundance, but
Yes.
you don't wait for abundance for you to be excellent.
Yes.
With the little that you have,
Yes.
be excellent.
You have to be excellent. So even if it's selling a bucket of tomatoes, you have to be excellent at it. And when you now start looking at these pillars, what is stewardship when you're selling tomatoes and you're trying to be excellent? Is to say, I will not sell watermelons. I will not put a hole in the bucket and then circle them so that they look like they are many. You're being a steward, and you are respectful to know that this did not come because I'm awesome or I'm the best at it.
Yeah.
It's become because I've been entrusted to deliver certain value to people. That would be excellence. When it comes to integrity, is to say, if someone says, I want 5 buckets of tomatoes on Friday, I have an event, can you supply? Integrity is saying, yes, I will be there at the time you have said. And if I am about to fail to deliver it, I don't tell you on the day. I tell you before. In fact, speaking also about Pastor Tony, he's got the statement where he says, on time is late and early is on time.
On time is late. So if I say we're meeting at 3:30 and you arrive there at 3:30, no.
You're late.
I should be there at what time?
You should be there early. Whatever early then is.
Before 3:30.
Yes.
Okay.
So on time is late, and early is before the time is supposed to meet. So all these things, these pillars govern how you make the decisions of performing. If you then say another pillar is then diligence, how do you perform what you're supposed to perform? Is there going to be a consistency? If you're supposed to do 10 shows in a day, show number 1 has to be exactly the same quality as show number 10.
Come on.
Because it's a reflection of your inner being, your innermost being. And when I said in the beginning that when you exude excellence, you inspire men, whether they like you or they do not, whether they're supposed to hate you by law, they will be inspired to look towards you and just automatically favor you. A lot of people I've heard a lot of people say, we are not favorable because they look a certain way. That specific aspect that they've been liked for is exuding excellence. People trust excellence because excellence in itself, in its own resume, speaks diligence. It speaks dependability. It speaks reliability. And when that fruit comes out of you, it's not by force. It's not by necessarily I've practiced to be this, because now that becomes a persona, but it's a character. It is your very being. So even in your words have to exude excellence.
So at what point do I know that now I'm an excellent person? I'm not faking it. I'm not putting up a facade that, hey, look at me, I exude excellence. I'm really being excellent.
Financial people say numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie.
Yes, numbers don't lie. And the most amazing thing about someone who is excellent is they are not necessarily checking and saying, oh, I was excellent at this task. I was excellent at this time. It becomes such a bare minimum. It becomes a benchmark. It becomes a standard that you don't even notice it. When you are starting, you have to set the standards. So you are very intentional about it. You have to be very deliberate. If you're saying, okay, I will always be 15 minutes early to a meeting. At meeting 100, you don't look and say, was I early? No. It's subconscious because it's now a fruit of who you actually are. So a person who then becomes excellent, you may not even know that you're being excellent. It has now become a lifestyle. But when you start deciding it, especially when you look at it from one of our last episodes, we're speaking about the wheel of life. We're saying there's so many components of you as a human being. And it is intentionality that says, okay, in my health and fitness, I have to achieve this. This is what surpassing everything or everyone or the standard is. Because you're not trying to beat people. You're trying to beat the atmosphere or a culture that has been standardized. So if people say, let's say, to be a politician, you have to lie. It is a standard that has been set, whether it's intentional or it wasn't. So what you then do, let's say you say, I want to get into this. You look at the standard and you have to surpass it positively and say, I will not do this. If it's women in business, there is a, in quote unquote, a standard that has been set to say, no, you have to sleep your way to the top. So when you are now conscious of that, you then set a standard and say, no, I will not.
Because every sector or certain levels in life have like rules of engagement, lack of a better word, but I think that's what
that's a perfect way to say it.
Have got rules of engagement, and you are either playing along to those rules of engagement, but you also mentioned integrity. Like, how do I remain integral in my character, in my persona of being an excellent broadcaster or presenter without compromising on my integrity? But the sector that I'm working in has got rules of engagement, and if I want to get to a certain place, I have to somewhat follow those rules of engagement. How does one separate and say,
this I will do, this I will not do?
This I want to do.
Right. So I will take you back to when I started and I said those 5 elements are pillars of what excellence rests on. But then they are fruits of where excellence stems from. So excellence, you see it sitting on something, 5 things, but its very nature, it stems from certain things. And you cannot separate excellence from glory. You cannot separate excellence from glory. So then what does it mean to be within glory? Being within glory, as we said, it is being as of God. And I don't think there could be any other example. So what is then considered of God? It is the 9 fruits: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control, faithfulness, and there's the 9th one, and kindness. Did I say kindness?
Yes, you did. Yeah. But that's like the fruit of the Spirit.
That is the fruit of the Spirit. What other fruit can a human being have which is beyond that? Gentleness is the 9th. Yes.
That's the word.
So when you're in it, so now you're going to a job, you're trying to get a contract, and then your integrity is challenged. Integrity standing alone does not have enough strength to hold you. It will not, because it can shift.
It can.
It is relative. You see, it is relative because when you see a lot of people doing something, they create the culture. And subconsciously, you start thinking that this culture is what should be done.
And everybody has a price, Pedzi.
Yes.
Everybody has a price. I am, my price just hasn't been brought to me. So my price hasn't been brought to me, but God help me the day my price is like flashed before my eyes. May I not forget who I am, you know, because I want to stand for things like that. I want to stand for integrity. I want to stand for excellence. I want it to be written, a whole article. BeckyK denies whatever $1 million. What is my 1,000 and 100,000 meter and above? You're gonna 2, 3, 4 meter type of thing. And then maybe, but not even maybe. But I don't want to get to a point where I have to question, hey, do it say? But I still want, yes, I still want to stand on my own too and be like, but everybody has got a price. Everybody's got a point in their life where they are, or if they haven't already, questioned their integrity, or like, wow, am I still, does God still love me? Did I do proper? And all of that. Everybody has got that thing in their life where they are like checking themselves, right? Let's speak to the person who has, okay, you've gotten to that point where you are checking yourself. Maybe you haven't really crossed the line. What can they do to ensure that their excellent standards are not compromised? They're still people of integrity, still a man or a woman of their word. They are, they've got integrity, man. But it will not be said of them that this is what they have done. Yeah.
Okay. So integrity is the pillar, but it cannot stand alone, because if its root is not, is not deep enough, is not strong enough, the integrity will shift. So, for example, we're talking about the price to be paid. So let's now look at the food. We spoke about the nine foods. Integrity cannot stand without being held down by self-control. Integrity will not stand without being held down by self-control.
There we go. Okay, got it.
Right. And self-control is vital in maintaining discipline and focus. So the root is what reminds you, this is what you're here for. This is what you stand for. A tree will only go as high as the depth of its roots. It will only go as high as the depth.
If the roots are shallow,
the tree will not be tall. So your pillars, the strength of your pillar is determined by the depth and the strength of your roots. So what feeds your roots will determine what establishes the pillar.
You're onto something, Pedzi.
So you can cut off a tree, but as long as the roots are still there, it will regrow. But if you cut off the roots, the tree will fall. So if our pillar is service, our pillar is integrity. If it has got no source, your integrity will shake. If it does have a source, your integrity may look short, but it's because the root is growing. And there was this image I was looking at over the past week, and it says that if you take a tree and you flip it upside down, the vastness of the branches of the leaves is exactly the same system that is happening underground.
Yeah.
So excellence starts within. It starts underground.
It's an inside job.
Hidden.
It's an inside job. And just based on the things that you were saying, I think it's something that everybody should just desire. You might not be at the very top of the excellency pyramid, if it's anything such as excellency pyramid or the excellency tower, all right? But you can start somewhere. You can start with the place where you're at in your small space. There's actually a scripture in the Bible, I think it's the book of Luke, where it says, how can God bless you with more when you are not diligent with the little that he has given you? So you want to drive a Range Rover, but right now you have a Nissan Sunny, Box, Mazda 323, Chakudara. Okay, let's take it up a notch. A Honda Fit, okay, new shape. or an aqua. You've got a Vitz, you've got a small car,
Right.
but you are saying one day I am going to drive a Range Rover, even if it's for 2 minutes.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You might be owning it, or someone might say, hey, please look after my car for me. I am traveling. I'll be back after 6 months. But for the next 6 months, this car is in your care. If you are not able to take care of the Nissan Sunny box that you own, ko kuzoti zimotikari iro rawasirwa kuti nditarisiro ndichengete. And you know God tests you like that, eh? Yeah, like before he shows you what is in store for you, he'll be like, Chimbo test that.
Right.
Oh no, these are the things that I can do. But now, this is you being tested, and you haven't been treating your Nissan Sunny box well. You haven't been taking care of your Honda Fit. The car is crying, clean me, or fix my wheels, suspension, dara. Okay, guys, alright, like do something. But we will then want to fix the car when it has stopped working.
Right.
As long as it is moving, the car is fine.
Point A to point B.
Yes. Right. So that scripture then just reminds me of if you want to be an excellent person, you are going to start with what you have. Start at the place where you are at, with the clothes that you have, based on the statement that you put on. How are you going to own designer clothing?
Right.
Shirt yako yeku, what's that shop? I have viral before I mention it. Okay, Mazita. So yekum bed guys, right? Shirt yako yoyo. You worked for it and you purchased it.
Right.
Or it was gifted. Are you looking after it? But you want to wear Gucci and Louis Vuitton. You are going to look after it the same way you are looking after that stuff. So there's a place where people can start. What are they doing at that place? Like right now, they've listened. They're like, okay, Pedzi, tazvinzwa. Ndikuita sei, ndikurongedza chicha chandikubvisa mumba, chicha ndikuita with my workspace, with my relationship, with my money, because excellence has to then show in almost all the areas. The day excellence shows in everything I do. Other good. I will be the happiest person. Like, it's excellent. I did it.
You remember when we started, we said talent brings benefit.
Yeah.
But excellence gives reward. So you, from the example of I've got this small vehicle and I'm desiring for something better.
Yeah.
The desire is great. We can also term it motivation. But the management aspect of being diligent within the little is for you to create the systems, because you don't grow to the level of an opportunity, but you fall to your level of preparedness. Auntie. Okay.
What? Okay, ndafema. What, Pedzi?
Yeah.
What in the English did you just say?
No, you don't grow. If an opportunity comes today, and then the UK comes and says, Becky, we want you to be our news anchor.
Right.
You start within a week.
Right.
Just because the opportunity has presented itself does not mean you're going to match up to it.
I will match up to it as much as I am prepared.
Yes.
So someone writes in and says, "Nay, Becky, what do you do with all this information?" Some of it, we're not ready. We're not ready for it. And then you just dropped.
Right.
You will not meet the.
You do not rise to the level of an opportunity.
But
you
fall
to the level
of your preparedness. How prepared are you?
For it. So how prepared are you for the Range Rover when you're failing to manage the match?
I got the shades.
You've got the shades.
Yes. Let the Range Rover come and see if I'm not prepared.
Yeah, ready with the glasses.
I'm ready with the shades.
You know, there are some people that if they receive an opportunity and they have not been prepared for it, and people see it, they'll say Akaba.
Amazing.
Do you know?
That makes sense.
So excellence now is
that
this.
actually makes sense.
Excellence is you constantly preparing and being diligent with every task, with every opportunity. People notice that, such that when they then see Becky driving up in an S-Class.
Mm-hmm.
They're not saying she slept her way to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because excellence exudes. I told you, it inspires man.
Yeah.
So you cannot inspire someone or something without consistency.
Yeah.
So once the consistency has gained so much momentum, it draws resource by itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you are to move from a level to the next level.
You just giving me a prayer point.
Mm.
But go on. No, it's
Hallelujah.
mine. It's mine. I'm sharing this one.
So excellence pulls reward. You are rewarded for excellence, but you get benefits for talent. So let's put it in a very practical example.
Mm.
You come to work every single day. You're supposed to be there from 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And you finish your work by 2 p.m. because you're just quick. You know how to do it. You just know how to do it. You're talented in this work.
Okay.
You get the benefits of it, which is your salary,
Mm-hmm.
which is your appreciation and applaud.
Right.
But someone who comes at 7:30 and makes sure that their work is done by 3,
Mm-hmm.
but does more than is expected and still finishes perhaps the same time, is rewarded. You are given the benefits that everyone gets,
Mm-hmm.
who is supposed to complete a task.
Mm-hmm.
But because you have been diligent and have excelled, you have projected, you are rewarded.
You even came in early.
You see now, you are rewarded because excellence inspires man. They see you and they say, this person comes in early, they leave late, or they leave on time, but their work, they do more than everyone else. So we will reward them. So there's a position that has come into play. Becky, I think you are most fit for it. Would you like to take the post?
And that's how man is inspired then to bless you and to help enlarge your territory because you have shown signs of excellence. Saka maprayer point esaunongochiita kuti mari ndiri kushanda ndikomborerei mwari wamuka makuseni waita midnight waita 3 p.m. waita lunchtime prayer waita zvese.
Most of these prayers that people are making are not prayers, but they're blackmail. So we say we attend an all-nighter, we enjoy the time period that is supposed to be there. We say, God, you know me. Or you've given a 10% of $100.
Good, you know me.
And it's $10. And you're like, Mwari ndino tithe. In the same situation, he rewards you. That's it. So even Jesus himself, God's son, in fact, we might say God himself, when the time of excellence came through death, he says, see if it is what you would do, which is your will, because there will be a reward after. What is the reward? The eternal crown. Now, when we take it back to us, what are we doing? Are we doing it as if he would do it?
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing it as if the best person who would ever be hired to do something would do it? And if we do it with such diligence, excellence itself will reward you. No one.
I'm just going to back up exactly the statement that you have said. We've spoken about excellence, and the word that keeps coming up accompanying the excellence part of things. You mentioned different pillars, but there was integrity, but diligence keeps coming out. Diligence. So I just looked up the word, what diligently means, in a way that shows care and consciousness in one's work or duties. You are concerned about it. Then it led me to a scripture, I think Hebrews 11 verse 6, where he talks about that for it is impossible to please God without faith and then I think there's a part, I think it's towards the end, where it says and God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. It's on purpose. It's taking care. You are conscious about what you are doing. It's not like a blackmail, like what you've said. It's really like, this is who I am. So diligence equals reward.
God rewards. He never says God blesses.
He rewards.
So
Reward and blessing are two
there's
different
a
things.
complete difference.
What?
As children, we get a blessing. So look, even in your household, if your children come having passed, they've come out top 5, Vapasa. They got their B's and all. You, as a parent, you will bless them and say, okay, let's go out. If that child gets straight A's, you reward them.
There we go.
And there's a difference between a B and an A. It looks like there is no space in between them, but the distance between a B and an A is the largest space you can ever experience in your life.
Because one gives you a blessing, the other one gives you a reward. My daughter took part in some allied arts competition. When was it? Yesterday. She took part in some poetry competition. As we just wrap this up, and you give us your final words. So I asked her how it went, because I wasn't able to attend. And then she says, "Oh, I got second." And I said, "Well done. For your age," because she's the youngest in everything, but she does really well.
Right.
So I'm saying, listen, consider that you were competing against people who are older than you. So the way they articulate English is going to be different from you. You are good, but with more work, you become better and you'll be great at it. This is me as a mother.
Yes.
I'm trying to pump her up. Actually, this could get you some Nando's or something, right?
Yes.
No, the child was like, I don't deserve a reward, Mom, because that was not first place.
Yeah.
And I was like, but you got second. She's like, yeah, but it's not first place.
Exactly.
And I'm thinking, this child is 11. I'm thinking, you're going to give me a headache. You give me a headache. But now that you are saying it, there's a difference between A and B. There is a difference between first and second. Yes, we may pump them up and everything, but deep down we know that second is not first. Yes, would I have loved her to have first place? Absolutely.
Right.
But I know her strengths. I know her level. I know what she's doing. I know the work that she's putting in. Even after I've asked her to recite the poem that she did, and I was like, did you do it like that? She's like, yes, I did. I'm like, okay, now I see why. You got second. Now I see why you got second. Yes, we need to polish up here. You need to accentuate more. You need to do this. She's like, that's what my teacher said.
No.
So now she knows what she needs to do to get to first place, and she's only like 11. What about us, the adults?
Right.
We know the places where we are not thriving and doing really well in our lives, and then we play blame games, and we mope and we cry and we complain, and we're like, but I did this and it didn't. Oh, okay, calm down, man.
Right.
What is it that you can do now
to get there? I'll say it very quickly because of time. The first thing, give an illustration of your daughter's experience. Her judgment was not based on the next person was better than me. Her judgment of self was based on I could have done better, which is a reflection of that nature of excellence, because you knew that I've got so much more I could have pumped out. So I tell you, next time she'll probably get first. When it comes to us now, also in relation to us kind of comparing children and adults, children are so pure in the sense that they are still internally looking and they have not experienced a lot. So their level of intentionality is higher than us. We are more affected by the things. If our pillars are shaken, we are affected. But kids' pillars haven't yet been affected as much as we have. And if we could approach our nature of excellence like children, do you remember someone who said that? If you'd come to me,
Jesus said,
like children.
Yeah.
Now, what does the like children aspect mean? It simply says you have to be very intentional about a specific thing. So when you're doing something specific, kids rarely multitask. So there's a level of excellence. There's a level that they desire, aspire for, and they achieve. So for us now, we have to write down a specific goal within a specific area that we are lacking. You write it down. So if it is fitness, for example, I want to achieve this thing. What does it require?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Then you plan the first step. Excellence sees the destination, but it works in steps. We are not then discouraged because, like I told you, when you're excellent in something, you barely know that I've walked this far.
Hey.
I've done this much. Because you just focus on the next step. Because Mangwana will take care of itself. Yesterday is already gone. The third thing is you have to create the routine. Excellence works on routine. Excellence, because it comes from a place of diligence. Diligence doesn't care whether you want to do it or not. It shall be done. So you have to create a routine that feeds into what you want to achieve. And then you have to seek feedback. We said excellence inspires men. So when you're in your earlier stages of trying to be excellent, you can actually ask, what do you think about the way I'm doing such and such a thing? What do you think I can improve? Because you're still building up. Your daughter came from second. She came, she did the thing, and then she got feedback. That feedback is what takes her to the next step.
Because she's definitely going to work on it.
Exactly.
Yep.
You cannot work on something you have not measured. You cannot improve what you don't measure.
Pedzi, I think that's enough.
And finally, you prioritize your well-being.
You prioritize
your well-being.
Your well-being.
Do not compare yourself, because you're in a race with you, not anyone else.
How did we get a hold of you, Coach Pedzi?
Instagram, the Coach ZW.
Instagram, the Coach ZW.
Yeah.
Whew, that was that for adulting, how to be a person of excellence. Start papo where you are. Routine. And na Elton, thank you, Pedzi. Wabatira Elton, as I don't want to learn.
Thank you,
Elton abatiri. Kanda beki wo futhi abatiri. It's 2:00, pulses. Stand by for the news.